Hello, everybody. Thank you for returning to our YouTube channel. I am Brian with Technology United for Ukraine, and we are now partnered with the Birds of Fury. They are a Ukrainian R&D military unit that works with us to create innovative technologies for the Ukrainian armed forces. If you're an engineer, scientist, technologist, or just anybody who wants to help out the Ukrainian military, work with our social media or our fundraising, you can choose whatever you'd like to do or just put the word out. Link is in the description. Click on our website, go over there and you can sign up. There's also a link for the Birds of Fury. Go check them out. All right. So as of the 1st of January 12, the amount of losses, and by the way, these numbers come directly from the Ukrainian armed forces. The amount of losses for the Russian side, these are soldiers that have expired on the battlefield, has now hit 808,250, with 1,750 being added. Tanks have now hit 9,756, with 5 being added. Armored personnel carriers has hit 20,289, with 18 being added. And the key one here, artillery is now at 21,839, with 22 being added. And here are other numbers that we see: the vehicles and fuel trucks, 33,598, with 64 being added. And then UAVs that have been knocked out of the sky, that number has hit 22,021, with 63 being added. They are sending a lot of these in, the Shahed drone attacks. So they're getting hit heavily now by Russian UAVs. So let's go and check out some interesting information, perspective, I should say, from the Institute for the Study of War. They are saying that their assessment that no negotiations will result in meaningful or sustainable peace as long as Putin remains committed to this pre-war demands for full Ukrainian capitulation and weakening of NATO. So this is something that we know Putin keeps reiterating, that he is not going to back down. So it's going to be interesting to see now with these tighter sanctions. Their ruble is collapsing, economy is struggling, their military is at an all-time low. I mean, they're just getting wiped out every day. What he is going to do when Trump gets in? Will he negotiate? Switzerland has offered to lead these negotiations, but we'll see. All right, let's go down here. North Korea's ability to learn and integrate lessons from fighting alongside Russian forces will likely be significantly degraded if the Russian military command uses North Korean troops in highly attritional infantry-led assaults, which we also know are meat waves, right? So interesting assessment here. Very true. You can't really learn anything if every troop you send out can't come back to tell you what they're saying. They're not learning. They're not gaining any intel. They also went on to say North Korean forces are reportedly deploying large assault groups to combat operations despite frequent Ukrainian drone strikes, which is likely contributing to North Koreans. Well, obviously, North Korea's high casualty rates and will likely affect the lessons that the North Korean military command will learn. That is very true. Then they go on to say, this is the last thing that I thought was really interesting before we move on. The POW told Ukrainian authorities that he had undergone coordination training with Russian forces for only 1 week before deploying to combat, and that he thought he was going to training exercises in Russia, not to the war in Ukraine. So they are speeding up their training. They're trying to change the look of the battlefield in Kursk by just dumping more troops into that area. So let's go over here. There was an attack on Novohorodivka. If I said that right, that's in the Donetsk Oblast, where they hit a command post with precision strikes. Maybe HIMARS, I'm imagining. If we go to the map, that would be, let me blow this. Let me go out a little bit so you know where we are. That would be right here, right where the Pokrovsk battle is going on, but probably somewhere back in here, maybe. There was a command post. Usually they're not that close to the front lines. If we, let me zoom in on this a little bit for you. So if we look at the front lines here, probably I would assume it was back here somewhere. Well, that thing got big on me there. When it does that, let's change this. There we go. So right about there. So in here somewhere. All right, let's look at some more information on this area, the Pokrovsk. Let's see what's happening. Since we're in this page, we should give a look at what the progress has been. As we know, the Russians are pushing this way, strongly this way. So they may be looking to get out here and cut the road off to Pokrovsk rather than going straight in, which was always a typical tactic. But it looks like, eventually they're going to make their way here and perhaps even out this way is their goal to really seal off a large, large area. But their losses have been, as we've talked about, just astronomical. But let's look at the progression. All right, let's go back in time. So we go back and now go forward. This is just a couple days. You can see they're making a lot of progress in those areas. But again, at tremendous losses. They're just sending wave after wave of men into a true meat grinder. All right, the other thing that was in the news that is significantly impacting Russia is Russia's facing setbacks moving troops from Syria to Libya. As we know, they're trying to pull them out and move them to the Libya bases that they have set up. There's just been tremendous setbacks because their ships, look at this here, we're going to pull this up, have leaks. These ships are leaking fuel. So they're not able to transport. They have to get these fixed first. And that is just really slowing their logistics. And they're going to have to destroy a lot of equipment that they can't take. That's going to be an outcome, 100%. Now, if we look at what's the Syrians are making it difficult now. The Syrians are denying Russian ships access to their port of Tartus. For whatever reason, they do not want the Russians to get their ships in there. And if Syria decides, no, you're not getting your ships in there, well, the Russians are going to have a real problem on their hands. All right, everybody, that is the updates that I have for you today. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And Slava Ukraini.